Good morning, guys. Welcome to Trade and Perform Coaching. It is Thursday, the 4th of March, 2021, 8:15 a.m. We're going to do a quick market profile update and then just get ready for the trading day. Before we get started, important disclaimer and reminder for all traders and investors. The webinar is for educational purposes only and not a recommendation to buy or sell any particular financial instrument. Equities, futures, options, and currency trading have large potential rewards, but also large potential risks. You must be aware of the risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the futures and options markets. Do not trade with money you can't afford to lose. The website is neither a solicitation nor an offer to buy or sell equities, futures, or options. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed on this channel. Past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. Absolutely consult your registered financial advisor and your risk trading plan before ever investing or trading any financial instrument. Okay, got that down. Let's just kind of review really quick from yesterday. What the market did and did not do. Hey, Matt, good morning. So when we look at yesterday's market, let's just switch it back to RTH. Dump it. Okay. Oh, there we go. Let's do this. Let's add a day. There we go. So if we look back at yesterday, you'll see that we opened up into an anomaly, right? So light blue is a weak anomaly. We opened up actually, this was Monday's low, right? Where we gapped down from the prior day's close down to Monday's low and below Tuesday's low, right? Failed to close back into Tuesday's low, closed underneath so Tuesday was an inside day, so below the two primary important areas, right? Monday's high, Monday's low. Got underneath Monday's low, came down into what I would consider a weak anomaly, right? But because it was already stretched from overnight, inventory was short, they used it as support and pushed back up where? To retest Monday's low and attempt to close back into the range, which was Tuesday's low, rejected out of that and came back to the anomaly for a second time. On the second time in the afternoon, when they failed to get back up, and what you'll notice is from the high, one of the keys that a market has started to trend, this is roughly the high from Tuesday, right? Tuesday to Wednesday. And if you'll look, we failed to exceed the 50-60 retrace. See how it came right back to the 50? Couldn't get behind the 62, which is what it had to do in order to go higher. And we then proceeded to roll lower. Second time into a weak anomaly, it broke. This was an old value area low, because if you remember from the profile, there's no anomaly there to work off on the profile. And then at the end of the day, the auction, you'd say, was incomplete. What I mean by that was there was no turn. We closed on the low. And so the auction is going to complete in the overnight session. And what that's going to end up looking like without adjusting the zones is if you throw it back in the overnight session, we're going to end up closing. This is where we end up closing at that prior low. There's another weak anomaly. You can see how it traded over under, but it tried to hold it, right? And ultimately, what the market came down and did is we got in Asia, came in underneath the prior day's low, the orange dotted line, and into Dalton's gap fill. That's where we found responsive buyers, right? Then we came back up. You can see that we finally broke the swing, which would set us up later in the morning for location at the 50-60 retrace. All right. So let's go adjust the zones so that we know what it looks like coming into today and what the critical areas are. And then we'll go look at the smaller time frame charts. So we'll get rid of this. Bring up the ES profile. Hey, good morning, Leandro. How are you? Hey, Victor, good morning. Let's see. So prior day's high is going to roll up. We can get rid of this. This will roll down here. Prior day's low. Let's move these things around. Okay, so notice the points of control are way stretched out again, right? It's basically that whole area, that 38.35 to 38.50, right? So I'll create two zones around that. This is going to go back up here, form a yellow zone. Oh, you know what? These are going to stay light blue because even though they're points of control, they see how they're separated by a big distance there, just like yesterday, right? So they're weaker in general. So you have one here, which is the TPO point of control. And you have one over here, which is the volume point of control. Then you have an anomaly right at the end. That actually becomes a white zone, believe it or not. It's a very strong anomaly. Getting above that would be an indication that we're trapping back in and going to try to make a recovery back up, right? Because we fell out of balance overnight. We basically came down and tested this area right down here. You'd expect it, you'd like to get it tested during the US session, but sometimes we just don't get that, right? This is that weak anomaly. Oh, you know what this wasn't even an anomaly. This was the close from 226, and retail traders pay attention to it. That's why I highlighted it. And there was nothing else down here. That's why we traveled through here so easily, right? Let's see what else we have. This goes away. This goes to a prior day's high, so it's a potential trap location. Low, high, and then this would easily get traveled through if we got above it. So those are the levels. Nothing really changes. I mean, the key support on this thing is down at 37.40. Right, so there's still room to the downside, but 37.40 to 37.04 should get a big fat response somewhere in there. So we're going to watch the intraday price action set up to try to grab a trade out of that location. So if we save that, and come look at the overnight chart. We would see, okay, so this, right, if we look at this, this is right here, it's prior day's low. There's a white zone right above it, right? So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so everyone can see it. Okay, so there's a white zone right above prior day's low, right? So you can see this is Asia, right? We opened up. This was the settle price from whatever that date was I showed on the profile, right? So you can see retail traders try to trade there, but it's really not a key location, right? Trade underneath the prior day's low, just misses or just comes to Dalton's Gap fill. Then where does it target back to? Back to the white zone, right? Comes back for 50-60 back, and now we're open on the white zone. I would say we had to get above and hold above 38.20 to have an up day. And that's really all there is to say. Underneath 38.20 during the U.S. session would be a retest of this 37.84 to 37.77. This 37.66 to 37.64 is a weak zone. Your next strong location is 37.38 to 37.26, and I'm not going to worry about much more beyond that, right? If we get underneath that, I will post it, and I would say on the upside, 38.15, I'd say 39.10. It's probably too much, but it's the next major anomaly up there. All right. Oh, I know I didn't mark off value area high and value area low. Let me fix that really quick. Yeah, I missed something. Let's go grab these. Now we got it. Control A, minimize. And now the picture looks right. All right, so prior day's high, prior day's low. We're opening up inside prior day's low. I would expect an attempt back on this 37.84 this morning just because we were so weak, but we'll see, right? Hold above 38.20, we probably trade back through this area. If we really get strong, it's back to 39.10. We'll see. Anything's on the table with the ranges that we're having. So all of that is acceptable. I'm going to put 39.10 as my upper boundary, and I'll do that 37.16 as my lower boundary. We'll go from there. Edit, copy chart to BMP. Yes, 4. JPEG, save. Okay, let's just take a quick look at the econ. Not that I care about it one way or the other, but Forex Factory shows us with 9 a.m. factory orders. That's it. Now, Fed Chair Powell speaks at 11:05 a.m. That's New York lunch. Okay, so just be aware. Fed Chair Powell speaks at 11:05 a.m. I'm setting my alarm right now. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 11 a.m. Fed Chair Powell speaks. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 11 a.m. for Chairman Fed.
Your Chairman Fed alarm is set for 11.
Fed, all the same, I guess. Okay. And that's it. So let's get this minimized, parked over here where it belongs. And then, so the last piece that's important to me, right, is the, again, where we were in VWAP. If you look overnight, right, all night long, again, if you oriented yourself above VWAP towards getting to the third and fourth standard deviations, you're in pretty good shape. Now, this is an example here of where we came back for the 50-60 back and it couldn't make it to the third or fourth deviation. You're just going to have to adjust there and decide what you want to do if you get the high odds setups. It's easier to find trades inside the third and fourth standard deviation. If you look out here, and we're about to open up in a minute, and we're obviously opening above the overnight VWAP, right? And so when you look back over here, right, you're inside the third and fourth standard deviation. I want the same thing. My favorite setup would be a speed bar with a triangle up, right? And where I'd really like to get it is down over here. That right there So it stops here, right? Speed bar fractal. I like that, but it wasn't divergent, right? This bar is divergent. Of course, it's Asia, right? So what did it do? It chopped a little bit behind this bar, right? Where is it? Oh, wait, that was divergent with a triangle up, but not a fractal. Fractal speed bar. This is the only one I had, and it stopped. And I'd be all right with that, right? Because yesterday, that was worth 10 points each time. It just didn't hook up there, right? And if you look, it didn't give you another chance to go. If the other thing that you would look for down there is a 3-bar combo, which that was, but you'll also end up with a 3-bar combo right here, which is star, triangle down, speed bar, star up, right? And because again, because Asia got stretched out over here, sometimes you just have to take it twice, and it formed a little micro head and shoulders there for the pushback out, right? You can see when it got up to VWAP, it rejected off for a quick little trade. Gets above VWAP the first time. Notice no setup. You're looking for the first whole setup with a triangle above. The second time above, that's a speed bar. The whole thing's above. See that whole thing's above? Speed bar triangle up or speed bar fractal triangle up, and that gave you the push out. Right? And that really started you on a very nice extension to the upside. We come back up. Now notice, this is what you hope for when it comes back in, is it just doesn't give you a signal for a long, right? Then when you get underneath there, you're looking for the short setup. And if you look, what would be the short setup in here? You had a divergent triangle and star down. That's your short setup right there. Gave you a small push. Here's a 3-bar combo at 4 in the morning. Again, underneath VWAP. And now what you're doing there is getting back into the 50-60. But what you're hoping for is that you can get back into the 50-60 and or that third or fourth deviation. You couldn't do it in this particular case. And then what you're looking for off this bottom is this right here. Again, star, speed bar, fractal, triangle up. And that's what launches you back to the upside. You just have to decide whether you're going to be willing to take that out of the 50-60 or not, right? And notice the distinction. What you really, really, really want is for it to be divergent is the only thing. And we did not get that in this case, but again, it's overnight. So now I'm just going to reset here for not for US session, but for night. You see we've opened up, right? So here's the US session.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Thank you, Siri. I want to make sure this is correct. It is. All right, so I'm over the 24-hour VWAP. I'm over the US session VWAP, and I'm attempting above the white zone, right? I think it's a little optimistic that we gap and go, but whatever. I know this third and fourth deviation, right? Just be leery of it when it first opens because you need some time for it to develop, right? You can decide how aggressive you want to be. That part doesn't matter to me, but it can be a challenge to say the least, okay? So just keep that in mind. So, there we go. And we're grinding still. So NQ up 69. And again, we're completely above VWAP. And continue to push into value area low from yesterday. And let's see what sets up. Star right on top. That's a very good sign of a potential top up there. Just FYI. Again, so just to orient ourselves, pushed up in the value area low, no key areas in here, right? We're above VWAP, 24-hour, or above the RTH VWAP. We need to get below 38.26 before even considering it, and bigger picture below 38.09 before we know we can get extensions to retest the lows, right? So we'd like to push up into these third and fourth standard deviations. Again, above VWAP, it may trend, right? I'll wait for a pullback. If they trend it, they trend it. Nothing I can do about that. Underneath VWAP, IQ. Underneath VWAP on NQ, still above on ES on all time frames. NQ about to close underneath on a TMP, underneath the 24-hour VWAP as well. Anyone have any question? Everyone doing all right so far? This is pretty straightforward. Once you get the signals above and below VWAP, you're getting paid. All right. And the longs above are working quite nicely as well. I don't trade gap fill very much, so I don't know. I generally avoid gap fill because I find that every retail trader in the world's there, so it's sometimes yes and sometimes no. Which gap? Are you talking about Dalton's gap fill, or are you talking about the settle price? Yeah, I would expect a response from there. Yeah, I would expect a response in that area if it sets up. Is it as long as it's above? I'd want it above VWAP. I'm not looking at the CL chart at the moment. NQ barely up on the day, crushing all the it's going up guys, which is great. And again, just crossing over on 24-hour. We have a way to go. Your targets down are 38.10 from up here. I was working on the DLL file, Matt, so I didn't work on CL, so I apologize. But see how straightforward that is when it gets underneath, right? Look at that. Speed bar, triangle down. Star, speed bar, triangle down. See ya. And then above, star. That's a no demand triangle up, just as good for a counter rotation back up on the P&L. All right. Into the third and fourth deviations down. Again, I'm looking for a very specific setup there, or I'm not interested. This is that white zone from yesterday on NQ, by the way. Thank you. A little Unchained here. Thank you. Roasted some people. Pretty good. I think it needs to come down and clear that 12,550, 12,521, and 12,457. I know this. I'll look for trend day up once I get above that area, that critical VWAP area. But I'm underneath on both the 24-hour and the RTH, and not looking that good on ES actually. Not closed underneath yet, I don't think. Maybe just barely. They're dancing on it. econ in 3 minutes. Underneath VWAP on all those markets. star right on top there produces a short underneath value. I should have grabbed that 3-bar combo. I apologize, I was on NQ. I don't know what I forgot here.